I used to believe that I could never experience love. For as long as I can remember, I was always confused. I was confused with the fascination my peers had with sex. I was confused with the way love songs and rom-coms talked about love in ways that I assumed surely had to be blatant exaggerations. I was confused when my first romantic partner wanted me to be something more than just a really close friend. At the time, I didn't know what else to be. I did not understand how so many people could want, and by my observation, seemed to receive more than that. I was in high school when I had already resigned myself to the notion that I was likely going to die alone. I've been part of the ACE community for several years now. Knowing that there are other people like me has, to a degree, helped me understand and accept myself. But it wasn't until October of 2018 that I finally got a breakthrough that has allowed me to fully understand myself better and better understand the people around me. This was when the anime that changed my life began, Bloom Into You. The anime is an adaptation of the first 5 volumes of the manga of the same name. Chapter 45, the final chapter of the manga, was just released, so I've decided today to do a retrospective on this fantastic series, but from a more personal perspective. But before we begin, let's quickly go over what asexuality is, and more specifically, what it is not. A person who is ace or asexual does not feel sexual attraction to people, or experiences it to a far lower degree. However, this does not preclude romantic attraction. You can be interested in someone romantically while at the same time having no or little desire to have sex with them. In the same way you can have sex without love, the reverse is also true. You can also have love without sex. Asexuality exists on a spectrum. People within the spectrum may still experience occasional feelings of sexual attraction, but these experiences constitute the exception rather than the norm. People on the ace spectrum are known as gray aces. And within the spectrum of gray asexuality exists demisexuals. People who do feel sexual attraction, but not until after they've formed a close bond with their partner. And finally, achiosexuals or lithsexuals are people who feel sexual attraction but have no desire to see that attraction reciprocated. Along with asexuals, there also exists aromantics or eros. While aces do not experience sexual attraction, eros do not experience romantic attraction. Pretty much every word that ends in sexual has a romantic counterpart. Homoromantic, heteroromantic, biromantic and panromantic, demiromantic, and indeed aromantic. The eros spectrum is separate from the ace spectrum, though overlap between the two certainly does exist. Yu Koito is a freshman beginning her first year of high school. Yu has gone through life reading, hearing, and seeing what love should look like, but never feeling it herself, even after having a fellow classmate confess his love to her. When she stumbles upon upperclassman Toko Nanami turning down a similar confession of love for the same reason, Yu asks for advice. Both girls have gotten to that point in their lives believing that they were simply incapable of love. And while that remains true for Yu, it certainly doesn't for Toko, who immediately begins to fall in love with her. Yu, on the other hand, still feels nothing. She's not swept off her feet in a moment of understanding what love really is. She still believes herself to be an arrow ace. And in fact, that is the part of Yu that Toko finds most alluring. The initial draw she finds in Yu is that she can be attracted to her without having Yu reciprocate, which already fits the general mold of an achioromantic or a lithromantic. Though, to be honest, Toko is not the person I'm most interested in talking about. I'm much more concerned with Yu, who fits the framework of an asexual much more definitively. One might make the argument that Yu can't be ace because of reasons. Hell, plenty of people have already made this argument based only on what's happened in the anime. My first reaction to that would be go back and review my explanation of gray asexuals, but my second reaction would be to more thoroughly explore the difference between asexuality and aromanticism. And to do that, we should talk about Maki. Maki is a classmate of Yu's who is on the student council alongside her and Toko. Maki absolutely loves having other people discuss their love lives with him, and he is fascinated observing two people whose personalities gel fall in love with each other. But he has zero desire to experience this himself. Maki is not just Ace, he's also Arrow. He does not feel romantic attraction, and he is completely fine with that. Later into the series, he describes it like sports. Some people wish to play the sport, while others are just happy watching others play. He says love has more players than any sport out there. When I first started watching Bloom Into You, I strongly identified with Maki. After all, we're both ace as hell, and we're also both shipping trash. You also identified with Maki and saw herself in him. But I'm not Maki. I'm not Arrow. And neither is you. Over the course of the anime series, you and Toko form a close bond with each other, one that can neither really be described as a friendship nor a true romantic relationship, with you continuing to lack, or at the very least failing to express any desire for their relationship to progress further. Indeed, the anime even ends with this still being the state of their relationship. But the manga carries on past that point. Shortly after the events of the anime, Yu confesses to Toko that she is in love with her. By my reading, Yu is demi-romantic and likely demisexual as well. She doesn't feel romantic nor sexual attraction unless she has formed a close bond with the person. She still wants romance, but on slower terms with people she already trusts implicitly. Seeing the progression of Yu's internal struggles with her own sexual and romantic expression, and the development of her relationship with Toko, led me to realize that I'm more like her than I am like Maki. Unlike Maki, I do actually desire romance. I thought I was Arrow, but I was wrong. But, while I can ascribe these labels to you, this series never does. Later into the series, Toko explicitly rejects Yu's attempts to label their relationship. After all, Toko changed her mind on whether she wanted Yu to reciprocate her love, so any other labels may be subject to change and would hinder the natural growth of their feelings for each other. A similar encounter between a couple of the side characters happened when Miyako asked her girlfriend Riko about her orientation. Riko responded by saying that she's normally exclusively attracted to men, but that Miyako is the exception. But the label of straight shouldn't matter. Her feelings for Miyako are real and genuine. The show is about the complexity of love and the ways different people experience it. We use these labels to help ourselves better understand and explain that which is complicated, but in the end, the only thing that matters is if you're happy. Maki is happy without a relationship, so he doesn't partake in one. Yu is happy around Toko, so she pursues that. Riko is happy with Miyako, so she breaks with her typical orientation. The series never tells us whether Yu is actually Ace, because that isn't what matters to her. And it's also not what matters to me. Regardless of whether Yu is really Ace, her story has had a profound effect on me and has helped me better understand myself and better understand my asexuality. If the character of Yu Koito was of similar use to people who aren't asexual, then that's even better. I used to believe that I could never fall in love, but now I know that I can.